Today we will talk about multinational corporations and ethics of working. In India, in different domain, a lot of multinational corporations are working. So how they will work in India and what are the different ethics or the work culture needs to be followed. So that is the point of discussion today. Now let us start with the global issues into this, and there are a lot of other factors involved apart from the normal business, that is environmental, social, then economical, political. So all these problems are there in global environment, and multinational corporations, when they will work in a country, so they have to take care of all these issues. Now all these areas what I have told, this adversely affects the global community, our environment, and this happened in a very catastrophic way. So multinational corporations, when they work in a country, so these organizations establish business in more than one country. That's why it is called multinational corporations. So there are a lot of such companies available in India who are working, and normally the headquarters are in the home country, that is either US, Europe or any other Asian countries, and the business is extended in many host countries. For example, the Walmart, their office is in US, but main offices will control the different countries. So countrywide it is expanded. Around 99 business lines are there in Walmart. So throughout different parts of the globes, the Walmart offices we can get it, so that multinational corporations will work in this area. And around the world they are having a lot of business units are there. So they work in this fashion in different countries. Now when you talk about the multinational corporations, they normally do the business in the less economically developed or developing and overpopulated countries. These are the basic feature how the multinational corporations work. And also one of the areas need to be emphasized here, that natural resources, very important here, and where the natural resources are there, so multinational corporations, they work into those countries. So inexpensive labor, availability of natural resources, conducive tax atmosphere, and virgin market for the products. So these are the different areas they look into when they work in a different country or establish a new office in certain developing countries. Now multinational corporations, when you are talking, then developing countries also will get the benefit out of it, like fresh job opportunities. So lot of job vacancies will be created, and normally the multinational corporations, they give the higher remunerations, okay, and lot of challenges will be there into different areas. And they also take care of the transfer of the technology, some advanced technology they transfer to the countries where they work, and several social benefits by the wealth developed. So the country also will get lot of benefits out of it. Now multinational corporations, when they work, tensions will be there, and social and cultural disturbances will also happen in that country when multinational corporations will work. Now there are threats of globalizations, loss of jobs for the home country, that will happen. The local companies actually, the different ways of working and the multinational corporations working are different. So there are loss of jobs for the home country when multinational corporations like US, Europe or other countries, so they are, instead of creation of the vacancies, that will be created in the different countries where they intend to work for their profit and business expansion. So threats of globalization also talks about loss or exploitation of natural resources, where the country where they will work, so they will try to exploit the natural resources there. And also political instability for the host countries, that is one of the key factors also. So those are the things needs to be taken care of by these multinational corporations when they work in a country. Very important factor while they are working here is the technology transfer. So how they will transfer the technology to that particular country where they will establish their units. So it is the process of moving the technology to a novel setting and implementing it there. So that is the technology transfer, and this can be transferred in different domain of engineering also. It includes both hardware, machines and installations. It also includes different techniques, that is the different technical know-hows, organizational know-hows, then managerial skills and procedures. So all these things are coming under this technology transfer or the management skill kind of thing. So technology transfer, when you are talking, it can be transferred through governments, it can be transferred to universities also. They can get the grant from these multinational companies, consulting firms and the multinational corporations itself. So technology transfer can happen in different areas in this fashion. And most instances, the transfer of technology from a familiar to a new environment is a complex process. So that particular area, that multinational corporation has to work on it, and maybe this transfer maybe one that originally evolved over a period of time, not in one day, and now being introduced as a ready-made completely new entity into a different setting. So that way the technology transfer can happen in a particular country. Now technology transfer also discerning how the new setting differs from the familiar context. Okay, so little bit of cross-cultural social experimenters, that vision will come into this technology transfer. And there is a particular loop formation is there, how the technology is getting transferred by these multinational companies. So starting from the innovations, then it should be assessed in that particular country, production, marketing, then licensing, all these areas are there, and finally the financial return. So at international level, some of the things are very important, that is the international rights, that is how a company will work, but how the different office staffs or different people will work into these multinational corporations. So different international rights are associated, values, mutual support, loyalty and reciprocity, that is very important. A negative duty of refraining from harmful actions such as violence and fraud, that also needs to be taken care of. Basic fairness and practical justice in case of conflicts. So these are the different international rights that multinational companies has to take care of. So right of freedom of physical movement of people, that is one of the basic criteria in the international rights. Right of ownership of properties, freedom from torture, right to fair trial on the products. So all these things coming under international rights. Freedom from discrimination on the basis of race or sex, that is also important in international rights. Physical security is important, freedom of speech and forming associations, right to have a minimum education, right to political participation, right to live and coexistence. So those are the areas that international rights have to be taken care of. Then another important part that multinational companies, when they work in a particular country, so they have to promote the morally just measures. What is that? The multinational companies should respect the basic rights of the people, as we have seen in the international rights, okay, where they do the business. Then activities of multinational corporations must benefit the host countries in which they do the business. So a lot of multinational corporations, as we can see, are there who are working in different domains, not only in textiles but also in different domains. So they work in morally just measures principles in that host country. There also comes the helping the country's overall economy and its workers. So multinational corporations played an important role into this area. Lot of multinational corporations are working here, and they should pay their fair share of taxes also in the host countries. The products they manufacture or distribute should not cause easily preventable harms kind of thing to the people. So those are the things are to be taken care of, and they should respect the laws and culture of the host country, providing that they do not violate the basic moral rights. So that these are the ethics are to be followed by the multinational corporations. They should pay exactly the pay rate of the host country. Okay, so then only the workers will go and work there, and they should pay well beyond that rate sometimes, because they will be accused of unfairly stealing the most skilled workers in the society sometimes, and drawing them away from the company is important to the local economy. So this is one of the challenges multinational corporations are to facing. And living wages is very, very important. Multinational corporations should pay a living wage even when local companies fail to pay such a wage. Otherwise, pay only enough to attract the competent workers. So living wage also is very important, and multinational corporations they should focus on it to give the living wage of these different worker classes. Multinational corporation also should consider the issue of worker safety in companies that manufacture hazardous chemicals. So they must take care on this, and multinational corporations also should require to inform workers in language they can understand of different types of safety and dangers are there in the workplace. So those are the basic things that multinational corporations are to look into it. Another important factor is that when they work in a country, that elimination of risks, okay, and when they can while still making a reasonable profit. So risk management are to be taken care of, and that should be balanced with the profit margin also. So those are the very important area where multinational corporations must focus on it. And they should pay the workers for the extra risk they undertake. Sometimes the workers has to pay, workers has to be paid more than the whatever the living wage based on the works, or the allotment of the works based on the risk, etc. So in a summary, we can tell that multinational corporations, when they work, okay, in a particular country, then some of the ethics or some of the human rights are to be followed, so that they can promote the morally just measures. And multinational corporations, one of the basic features that organizations who have established business in more than one country, and developing countries are also benefited for the job opportunities. Higher remuneration and challenges are there, and of course the transfer of technology and several social benefits by the wealth developed by the working of the multinational corporations. So these are the different features how the multinational corporations work in different countries, and what are the ethics and moral values are to be followed in line with the international rights of human being. So that's all for this today. Thank you very much.